Howdy folks, Homestead Handyman here. Well, it's January, it's freezing cold out. However, this is the time to start thinking about gardens and getting ready and ordering your seeds. And so I want to show you some things that I've done around here. Number one, I built a greenhouse last year. And so now that's inspired me to build some mini greenhouses. Mini greenhouse cold frame, we'll call it. And so I'm going to build one of them that I designed and show you how I do it so that you can do that. And you can get started here early in the season, get your plants out there and get rolling. Okay, so let's get rolling here. So the first thing that I did was I went and milled up a bunch of 1 3/4 inch stock here to use for the frames on the two sides and the front and back. The top, the lid, will have a 2-inch frame. And so I got these milled up and then cut to size. These are, this angle here is an 18-degree angle, and this will stay constant throughout the project. And that's what I found to be a good angle for water to run off and everything off here. So this is going to be one of the sides. Now what I did was I tacked it together to hold it together with a couple of nails, galvanized I use. Everything on this is made for outdoor use. So I put the nails in there, and then what we're going to do here is put it on the boards that I already cut. Now it's going to take 3 cedar boards on each side, and so I cut those, the 3 of them, and then the next step is going to be that I'm going to have to mark. Let's get this lined up here. We're going to mark on this side here the line across here and cut it. And what we're going to do is cut this piece here off. This will flip around and be used to finish up over on this edge here. So let's take this over to the bandsaw and get started. Okay, so I have that cut. Here's the other piece here. So what we're going to do is lay this out on here, and we'll use this piece here to finish up the angle of the side. Alright, so we have the scrap piece. We'll put this down here, line this up, catch the edge there, and cut this off to fit. And there is a good fit right there. Let's see how that lines up there. And that looks good. I like to pre-drill it, so that's all done. And next step is going to be to just start putting the screws in and assembling this unit here. Okay, so we have the 2 sides ready to go. So that's what it looks like there. And on the back side, we have the frame that's going to be used to attach to the other pieces. So we have one side here and one side here. Now I just happen to like to have the rough side out because I like the look. You build them how you like. So that's there. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to build the front and the back. So let's get started on that. Okay, so what I've done is cut out this frame here and got this all put together. So this is the back one. What I've done is use some pocket holes on there. You can see right here, and I'll show you that. I use the pocket holes because it's going to hold the frame together really well, and I need some good structural integrity on this. Now, okay, one thing to note here is that that this is going to be the back side, and so the lid will fit up here like this and come down. Now, if you look here and see, this is cut on an angle, and so this is cut at an 18-degree angle. Remember I told you that everything on here is 18 degrees. Alright, so let me get the front frame together, and we'll go from there and start putting the panels on there. Okay, what we're going to do here is use the Tough Tex polycarbonate panels because this is really tough and it worked really well on my greenhouse, the big one that I built. Now they make, on the greenhouse I use the foam closure strips. Here I've opted to use the wooden ones. They are just pine, and so you have to go and put a spar polyurethane on them to protect them, or some kind of a finish. But you can see that they fit the profile right here of the panel pretty darn good. Now that's for the ends, and then on the sides you have this other closure strip. You see it has a round to it to fit the profile. Now the next step is, as I go along and put these all together, what you have to do is you're going to take this here because you want this up flush against here. So what you do is you have to slice this along here to match up where it hits the valley here. But you'll see that as I show you the next assembled part. I have this all assembled here. As you can see, I had to cut those along here to match up. Once again, we have the angle cut up here. There's the 18 degree, and this would be on the front side. And the panel will fit on there very nicely. And so I have to drill the holes and mount this. Also have to cut this off here. So I like to use a pair of tinge snips here. This is a special type here that makes it a little easier for cutting. You see the angle on there? So I've marked the line, and this cuts very easy. I think you cut it with a razor knife, a saw blade that's in backwards on a skill saw. Anyway, this for me works very well. And you can see how it just kind of cuts right along. Stay with the marks there, and nothing to it. Well, I have the panels cut to fit on here, on this section here. Now, one other thing I forgot to tell you is these strips here, what I did was I put a staple in them in a couple of spots to hold them in place until I get this assembled on here. And I shot a nail in on the back side over here in 2 spots, which you could use a screw or do whatever works for you. Now, this is a very important step here, that what you have to do, and I've already done it, but I'll just show you that you have to make sure that you pre-drill in the different locations here where you're going to place your screws. I've opted to do it every other place, and I've also, if you notice, done it in the valleys. So you do it in the valleys, on the side, and on the lid, you do it on the top of the closure strip. And then so the other thing is I've used 2 different kind of screws here. So one is 1.5 inches and one is 1.25 inches. The 1.5 inch works over here on the where we have this closure strip, and then this one will work the 1.25 inch in the valleys. And then it's just a matter of easing the screws in place and not to strip it, because this is all made out of cedar, and cedar is very good for weather resistance. However, it's soft, so when you're assembling it, you don't want to strip the screws, and you don't want it to split, and that's the reason that you have to go ahead and make sure that you pre-drill everything before you decide to start assembling it. So we'll just continue on putting this together. Now over here, what I've done is overlapped it by one place here. So it goes over and then overlaps one to keep the water out of there, and make a better seal on it. Okay, so there it is, all assembled. You have your angle on the top here, the 18-degree angle. Let's see if I can give you a better shot of that. See that? And so that the lid will fit right on there. You got a nice, pretty good seal in there, and we're ready to go here. And this will be weather resistant. I'll put the other panels together here, and we'll start the assembly. Okay, I got the two sides set up over here, and so what we're going to do is go and put this together. So you see, we take this here, and this will be the front, and it fits at the a nice location right here because the way the corners are. And so we will put this together here, and that is a nice fit there. The next thing that we're going to do is going to be that we're going to use these little clamps to put there. Now you can use any kind of corner bracing that you want, but this is what I'm going to use here. And so I'll just put these 4 in the front and 4 in the back, and that way that will hold it together very nicely, and it will be pretty easy to take apart if you want to do that and store it. So let me get rolling on that. Okay, so there is what the corner brace looks like on the bottom there, and then you can see the pocket hole right there. So they get pretty much covered as you start to assemble the unit. There's a detail of the top and how it's going together, where you have the top bracket on there. And everything, like I said, has the angle cut on there. See if we can get the right thing so you can get a feel for that. Everything is an 18-degree angle. Now that we have all the sides together and squared up, what we're going to do is take and I cut a 1x4 of the cedar that's going to go on the top. Now don't forget, when I build the frame for the top here, that is going to be a 2-inch diameter instead of the 1.75 inch, just to give it a little bit more rigidity. Because that will be getting opened and closed all the time. So this board will get mounted up at the top here, and what this is going to be is a place for the lid to attach to swing open and close, and attach it to the entire box. So I'm going to have to pre-drill holes that go down into the frame here to attach this to it. So you can see we got a nice angle here for the water to be able to go down and run off of here, and snow load, whatever it's going to be on there. And so it's going to be key that this board right here, that because you see the frame here is sitting here vertical, that we have to make sure that we don't put the screws in crooked with this angle, otherwise they'll shoot out the back. And so what you have to do is come here and take your drill and hold it straight up, and then drill down and make the pilot holes. So I'm putting 2 on each end, and then 1 in the middle, and then the hinge will go. There'll be a hinge here and a hinge on the other side, and we'll attach the lid to it. So let me get this piece attached. Okay, so these screws are a deck screw that I'm using on here. And I've chamfered out inside here to accept them. Okay, I have the lid made. As you can see here, you have pocket screws going in again. This, don't forget, is a 2-inch width on these on this frame here, so it's a little stouter to handle the banging and slamming and everything else from opening and closing. So that will fit on here. Like this, and butt up against this back board, this carrier board that will carry the lid. Now, something that I want to point out is that I have this resting on the frame and in the front, and also it all overhangs a little bit, so that the water will just kind of run down the sides and not in. Of course, you want water in your cold frame and greenhouse, but you want to control how much goes in there. Also, in the front, it's got an overhang that is enough right here to make sure that it's not going to run inside. And then when I put the Tough Tex panel on the top, we will have an overhang on that a little bit to ensure that nothing will get in there that you don't want in there. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and finish up the lid, and then we'll assemble it on there and have a look at it. Okay, I have the lid all assembled. So there you go, fits up there. Nice. And has the panel on here. And it uses the screws here. Now you have to go a longer screw, the 1.5 inches here, because you're putting it, don't forget, you're putting it on the top here, on the top of the mountain, not in the valley. And what we'll do is put in some hinges on the back here. And it will be able to flip open like this. Seals up very nicely. And that will about wrap up this project. Okay, well, I have the hinges installed on here. Look at how nice this is. And you can see that the lid will stay back so that you can go in here and work on what you're working on, and then it will just flop back down. Now, if you're worried about wind in your area, you can put a little clasp on here of some sort. So I think that pretty much concludes it. So this is made out of cedar with galvanized braces on the corners, galvanized hinges, and then you have your screws that are all weatherproof, and then deck screws that attach the back piece together. So it's a pretty easy build if you want to tackle this, and this will, I'm sure, last for years and years and years. And so if you like this project here, go ahead and make one and get started, or get an early start for the springtime on your garden. Well, this is the Homestead Handyman, and if you like my videos, please share and subscribe to my channel, and click that little notification bell on there so that you get the new videos that will be coming out all year long. So thanks so much for watching. Homestead Handyman out.